Hey guys, what's up? We're doing a quick live stream here, and I got a special guest with me today, Devin Gilliam. What's up, brother?
What's up, homie? Thank you for having me.
So I actually found Devin. He used to be called Northwoods Shaman, and I was doing like this research into DMT and stuff like that. And he has his video, and it showed up, and he's talking about his experiences with DMT and had like top 5 stories or whatever like that. And there was one story in particular where he's talking about he was doing DMT in his room and his dad came in and like busted in, but his dad didn't know. It was like this crazy thing, dude. And I was like cracking up. It was so hilarious. And I was like, oh my God, it was such an interesting story. I was like, subscribe. I have to subscribe to this guy. And I watched a few of your videos, and then these are like older videos. And then now, like you said earlier, you've really been taking it seriously. And he has like really like a good life coach, like really good advice, but also from a spiritual aspect to it as well. So I was like, oh man, this guy's awesome. So I just was in a couple of his streams and stuff like that, and we've been chopping it up on Instagram. So finally got together. I was like, I would love to do a collaboration with this guy, just kind of pick his brain a little bit and chop it up a little bit. So that's what we're here to do.
Here I am, man, dude. It's taken long enough. I feel like we've been like back and forth for at least like a month now.
Yeah,
before getting going.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I got some of my homies pulling up in the live.
Yep, I see.
Spiritual witch is my beautiful mother. Literally, she's so cool.
Oh, really?
She hangs out on my live streams. Yes. We got Charlie. What's up, man? Daddy Ilo. It's good to see you, bro. Yeah, dude. This is a first for me, man. Is this what they call panel live stream?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is sick. This is sick.
So like, you know, and I figured it's going to be like this because all these are your people, and my channel's small. Your channel's the bigger one. So, but the spiritual witch, I feel like I've seen you around somewhere, and that you got the 1111 on there. So you must have got a lot of your like kind of thought process from her, I would think, right?
Well, wait, hold on real quick. Did you change the layout of yeah, you did. Okay, that's what it is.
Go like this. I can throw you on a solo.
No, I liked it when it was both zoomed out.
Oh, you like this better?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if the homies like it more zoomed in, but no, that looks better for me. It keeps the definition there.
Okay, cool. I don't have a preference, so
that's cool. Hey, Charlie, I love you, bro. No, dude. So like, my mom, the way I always remember it is, I mean, first of all, my mom is a beautiful, angelic human being. Her name is literally Angela, and she's always been attuned to the spiritual, you know. And as a kid, the 2 things that she instilled in me the most were magic is real and mama never lies. Now, those were 2 things that I took to heart. And when you put them together, they make a beautiful statement. Magic is real and mama never lies. And those were 2 things that I carried throughout my childhood, you know. And as a child, I was very imaginative and I loved playing and pretending, and I was creative and thinking, and I loved going outside and pretending and like going into completely different like dimensions of playing, you know. And I was very imaginative as a child. And, you know, there was this really interesting phase when I was like 12 years old. It's funny, my mom, I guarantee she remembers this. At like 12 years old, you know, naturally we kind of start growing up, whatever the hell that means. And I started not wanting to play as much as I used to, you know. And it was this feeling of being like I wanted to play, but I also didn't want to. Like, I didn't want to play with my toys anymore. I didn't want to go outside and do the things that I used to anymore. And it was this horrific feeling because it was like I wanted to still be a kid, but it's like the thing in me that was able to like was disabled or something, and I was losing touch with it, and it was like I was being ripped away from that childlike wonder and growing up, and it was horrifying to me at such a young age. And I kind of leaned into it from like 12 to 15 or so. I grew up or started growing up, and like I started smoking weed and getting girlfriends, and then I started getting in trouble with the law and stuff like that. And at 16, when I took LSD for the very first time, that was the first time ever taking psychedelics. That absolutely ascertained for me with certainty, oh, okay, we don't grow up. We don't grow up. The idea that I've grown up and lost that childlike wonder was only an illusion. It was not true, and from like 12 to 15, I kind of would have considered myself an atheist. Like, it was kind of like that feeling of, when you learn Santa isn't real. That's how I started to feel. I was like, oh man, is God even real, dude? And I didn't have really any context to understand or believe in God or higher power. But at 16, it completely cracked that open and reintroduced to me what I had, started stepping out of at like 12 years old. But no, my mom definitely was a very strong influence in the divine feminine, the motherly Gaian aspect of reality and earth. You know what I mean? But yeah, she was absolutely impactful in that area.
I feel like I've seen her. Maybe I saw her in your chat. Maybe that's
Probably,
what it is.
yeah.
But I feel like maybe in the spiritual community, hey mom, do you watch like tarot or anything like that? Maybe I've seen you there. But you said something interesting. You said that like growing up is an illusion or something like that. And I honestly feel like when you're a child is when you're grown up. And then as you get older and you start coming into your ego, right? Then you start to drift away from that, because we're born with spiritual amnesia, right? When we're born, we're in what's it called? Theta, right? Where you're just present all the time. It's like when you first wake up in the morning, you're kind of groggy. That mental space is called theta. And that's what we are as a child. You're just always in the present moment, which is one of the topics that I wanted to talk about. Mm-hmm. And like when you're a child, you're not thinking as much. You're not using your mind, your brain. You're just in the present moment. That's why, children, they're very selfish, because, they don't know any better, but they're just in the present moment. So like once you tell a child what a bird is and explain to a child what a bird is, they'll never see a bird again. They'll only see their thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's cool. So yeah, like when you're a child, that's really you're the closest to being Zen and being, present that you'll ever be.
Yeah, you're not looking at life through your conceptualization of life. You're looking at life itself. Mm-hmm. I heard Terence McKenna make that very same quote of the child that sees the flashing iridescent display of beauty come in the window. And then the mother walks into the room and says, "Oh, honey, that's a bird. That's called a bird." And at that moment, the child never sees the bird again. Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. And dude, my mom, the spiritual witch, actually, we were just talking the other day, and she made a beautiful analogy of how, like, when we were kids, you know how when you're a kid, you go from video games to your toys to playing outside to taking a nap to different toys, and you're just next to the next to the next to the next to the next. Now, when you're playing video games and you get bored with the video game and you're about to go pick up the doll or the Matchbox car or whatever, do you think to yourself as a kid, man, I really hope when I go play with that Matchbox car, it's fulfilling. I really hope that I'm going to have a good time when I go and play with that doll. Or I hope when I go outside and pretend to be a wizard that I have a good time. I hope it's fulfilling. No, we don't do that, because we're under complete conviction that it's going to be an amazing time, and it's going to be so amazing that that's why we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's this beautiful, like you said, present in the moment, not separate from the moment kind of energy that we have as a child, where we're so invigorated and invested in what we're doing that we don't dilute it with that's how we do things these days. Is that really what I want to do? I hope I have a good time going out tonight, or I don't feel like doing that. I don't know if I'm gonna have a good time. I'd rather do, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We get all in our heads
Totally.
as we get older. It's really fascinating.
I think it really starts about somewhere around 5 years old, because like when you have memories, right? Like you think, your memories maybe about 4 years old, the earliest that you can remember. So I think that's when it starts, is about 4 years oldish. You start to become into your ego, right? And then instead of being in the present moment, you start associating yourself with your thoughts, right? Because you're getting smarter. And so I think that's pretty much the age, and then after, as the older you get, and I think that's one of the purposes of life, really. I think the purpose of life spiritually is to learn how to create, learn how to manifest, and to remember who you are, right? And so the longer that we go, the further from who we really are we become, right? And then, the older you get, like you said, oh, I'm going out to hang out with my friends. Am I going to have a good time? Like the mind just goes on and on and on and on forever about anything, right? If you think about it, how often are you quieting your mind? You're walking your dogs, you're doing whatever. You're always thinking, oh, I got this doctor's appointment. Oh, what this thing that happened 15 years ago, right? Like you're just constantly thinking, and it's not good or bad. That's what the mind does. The mind is a powerful thing. You can do a lot of things with the mind, right? You can, build a house. You can, do a live stream. There's all kinds of things you can do. But the problem is that people associate themselves with their thoughts as though those are what we are. And you're talking about playing a video game. So like the way that I describe it is, when you're playing a video game, you can't just press a whole bunch of random buttons and beat the game, right? Because there's something else that's controlling the controller, right? You are the person holding it that's beating the game. So the controller is the controller is the mind. The controller is like your thoughts, right? But the controller itself can't beat the game. There's got to be something else in charge of it that's going to beat the game.
Have you ever read the book Psycho-Cybernetics?
No, never read that.
Dude, it's a very good book. First of all, I want to quote, there's a beautiful quote that says, the mind is a beautiful servant, but a lousy master. Mm-hmm. And like you were saying, how we associate ourselves with the mind, we lose our sovereignty into the mind. And the mind is often what arises within the mind is often a result of external circumstances, of somebody pulls out in front of you, or your partner leaves you, or you get fired, or whatever's going on the outside usually is what stimulates the mind to be the way it is and to think the way it is, and also how that mind developed and was conditioned throughout its childhood. And when you lose your sovereignty, when you lose your sense of self and independence into that mind, whatever the mind says goes. So if somebody pulls out in front of you and can I swear?
Yeah.
If somebody pulls out in front of you and it pisses you off, or let's put it like this. If somebody pulls out in front of you and the mind reacts to it, you have no freedom from that. So you're pissed, right? Yeah. So yeah, the mind is a beautiful servant but a lousy master. And the way you described it, like a controller, is beautiful, because that's what made me think of Psycho-Cybernetics. It's essentially a book talking about how our life, and this has majorly to do with manifestation, right? Our life is determined and built upon our self-image, where our life is like a shadow being cast by our internal concept of who we think we are, where you think, I'm a 9-to-5 worker. I'm not worthy of love. I'll never be physically fit. I'll never be financially free. This is what I'm capable of. My dreams are unrealistic. That's a framework. That's a self-image. And you can see that what you're feeding into your mind, because those thoughts aren't your mind. Those thoughts are your prompts. You're adding prompts into the mind. You're saying, I will never be worthy of love. That's a prompt that you put into the mind, like a controller. You control the mind saying, I will never be worthy of love.
Yeah.
And the way Maxwell Maltz, the author of Psycho-Cybernetics, describes it is the mind, your body and mind work like a heat-seeking missile that goes towards the designated target that you give it. So you're not the body and mind. You are an operant power behind the mind that's inputting prompts. So when you say, I'll never be worthy of love, that's the designated target of the heat-seeking missile of your body and mind. And your body and mind work together in tandem with each other to keep you on course with the goal that you're putting into the system.
Yeah.
So your mind and body is going to work together and make sure you're never fucking worthy
Yes.
of love, right?
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
And like if you think I'll never be physically fit, like I'll never be able to lose weight, that's a prompt you're putting into your mind and body, and your mind and body goes, okay, we're never going to lose weight. So what's it going to do? It's going to feel unmotivated when it thinks about going to the gym. It might not even go to the gym because it doesn't even think it's possible, right? It's going to, when it does go to the gym, it's going to drag itself along and fill itself with all these unpleasurable emotions, because the prompt that you fed in behind it is, I will never be able to lose this weight. So your mind and body keeps you on course with what you believe to be true. And if that isn't the fundamental framework and basis of manifestation, I don't know what is. Of you attract into your life what you believe to be true, you know?
Yeah, I never thought about that and putting it that way as a prompt, you know what I mean? Like, because this is a simulation. So it's just like you're programming your mind just to put that on into default, you know what I mean? Real quick, guys, everyone who's in here that's on the Empirical Miracle channel, make sure you guys subscribe to Devin Gilliam, formerly known as Northwoods Shaman. And then all of Devin's people, if you like anything that I have to say, feel free to subscribe. I would appreciate it. But I'd like to talk about what the soul is, because we were talking about, like I was talking about how, you know, we're 4 years old, you start associating yourself with your thoughts, and then we think that that's what we are, as our thoughts, right? But we're not our thoughts. So what are we then? So what we are is a soul. Like, a lot of people know that, right? So we're a 3-part triune being. We're body, mind, and soul, right? But the body and the mind are just possessions we have. They're not actually who we are. Like when you see an astronaut, no one says, hey, look, guys, look at the spacesuit. Check out that spacesuit, guys, right? No, he's an astronaut, but he has the spacesuit. So that's what you are. You're a soul, which is pure consciousness, singularity, and you have a body and a mind, duality, right? So the 3D reality that we live in is dualistic by nature. Hot, cold, up, down, left, right, you, me, male, female, right? It goes on and on. Everything has duality, or as Einstein would say, the theory of relativity. Everything is relative to something else. So you are pure consciousness. And the thing about when you're a child is going back to being into what you are, being present, is just being present during the day. Like when you're a child, is soul stuff. So like when you're sitting there and you're cooking dinner, and I'm talking about the mind just goes on, and you're sitting there cutting vegetables and you're thinking about this and thinking about that. That's like a perfect time to just be present, right? Like when I'm walking my dogs, I try to do it. I'll catch myself thinking about things, and I'll be present. And what is being present? Some of you guys might ask. All it is if you're cutting vegetables while you're dinner, you're noticing the feel of cutting through the carrot, right? You're listening to the sound of it hitting the cutting board. You're in the present moment. If you're driving, you're noticing the feel of your hand on the steering wheel, right? You're not just thinking about this, that, and the other thing. You're just in the present moment. That's what being present is. That's what you are. That is aligning with your soul. And that's basically what meditating is, right? When you're meditating, you're just in the present moment. You're clearing your mind of all of your thoughts. So you're just there. That's basically what being present is. If you're trying to be present throughout the day, it's just like meditating all day, right? And so like meditation is like the core of it. It's like the big thing, you know, that's aligning yourself with your soul, with who you really are, bringing you back, remembering who you really are. And then being present throughout the day, it's like, you know, it's just extra. It's like drinking the protein shake. Like, you know, you got to eat your steak and your chicken or whatever, get your protein and go work out. Like that's the meditation. But then like the protein shake is just like being present throughout the day, right?
That's so fascinating, man. Yeah, like many people have a misconception of what meditation is. Like when I say meditation, people usually think of sitting in the lotus position, meditating. But what does that mean? And like you said, meditation is a way of being, you know, and in an even more interesting way, meditation isn't even something you're doing. Meditation is a natural result of being present, right?
Yeah.
You don't meditate. Meditation arises naturally when you align yourself in the present moment. And you talk about tuning into the soul and becoming aware of the soul. A lot of people never touch into that. That's why a lot of people don't even think the soul exists and don't think the divine exists and don't think God exists and all this kind of stuff. And, science is soulless and all this kind of stuff. It's because the soul is so subtle. The soul lies right behind the conceptual mind. The soul is what you truly are, and we could get into an interesting conversation because I don't know what your thoughts are on reincarnation and this kind of stuff, but when I hear the word soul, I usually think of this being that follows through the reincarnative lifetimes, but I don't know really how I feel about that, and when I think of a soul, what I think of is who we truly are, which is available right now. And I can't really account for if it's experienced past lives and if it's to continue, right? But what I do understand is that there is a level of our existence that is more real right behind the conceptualization of who we think we are. And meditation is the door into that, and I learned about meditation through Eastern philosophy of Hinduism, Buddhism, Zen, Taoism, these kinds of things. And they're, like when we learn about meditating, the idea is to focus on one thing. You focus on your breath, you focus on the feeling of the air coming in your nose and out your nose. You focus on a candle flame, you focus on the repetition of a mantra like Om. It's all about bring it into one thing. And why is that? Because when the mind focuses on one thing, it's so interesting. Like you ever been in a room reading and there's a clock ticking in the background, but you don't hear the ticking of the clock because you're focused on reading. So while you're reading, the ticking of the clock doesn't exist, but it does. But you're not tending to the hearing of your ears. So the ticking of the clock no longer exists for you because you've withdrawn your awareness from your ears because of that one pointedness on the book. And when you meditate properly, when you focus on that one thing properly, your senses begin to withdraw from the sense objects. So when people say the idea of meditation is to stop thinking, good luck trying to sit down and stop thinking. You need to know what to do and how to do it. And it's not like, once again, in the same way, meditation isn't something you do. It's a result. When like no longer thinking isn't something you do, it's a result, and it's a natural result of becoming one-pointed, which also means being present, where when you are fully with the moment, your senses withdraw from the sense objects and you stop conceptual. Like it's like what you understand your senses to be is a conceptualization, which is what builds the whole world around you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you become so one-pointed, your senses stop being informed by the mind of what they're sensing. And so this is where you start saying things like, you just are.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just is. And that is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very good luck trying to maintain that state, right? That's why we practice meditation. And you come out of a 5-10 minute, maybe 30-minute state of that, and you go, damn, that was a fucking good meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it worked.
Yep. And it feels good. And like, so it's hard.
Yeah,
it's like working out, you know, like it's hard to get going and get motivated, right? And you hate going. It's like a freight train, you know, it's hard to get going. But then once you get going, it's also like a freight train. It's hard to stop, right? Same thing with working out, same thing with meditating. And it feels so good. And you said something that struck a chord with me. You said it just is, or you just are. And it was like, I think that philosopher Descartes or something like that, the guy who said I think therefore I am, right, which is a misconception because he's associating thinking with being, right? But it's really I am therefore I am, right? That's
yes, dude, I love that. Have you ever heard of Ram Dass?
No. Wait, so, I think I have. That sounds familiar.
I love the way you said that. No. He has a quote exactly about that. He says that's not true. What's going on is I am and there are thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it. I am and there's all these thoughts here. Yep. Not because I think I am. No. How are you even aware there's thoughts? Mm-hmm. Because I am.
Yeah.
And there are thoughts, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, what you are is the consciousness. That's
exactly
what you are. It's just the consciousness, not the thoughts themselves. Like not your personality. Oh, you told that funny joke, ha 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 ha. Like that's just something that you have, that you possess, right? It's not actually what you are.
What's so beautiful, man, is the reason, you know, with what I just said about like meditating and becoming one-pointed and realizing I just am. You might think like, what the hell is the point of that? How is that practical in day-to-day life? It's practical because like when you exercise, you're literally like doing these micro tears to your body. And that's not when you're growing. When you grow is when you're laying in bed, fucking sleeping, not doing shit, because your body naturally is allowed to grow from the action that you put into it of the working out. When you meditate and when you can achieve that one-pointedness, the way I describe it is it's like your mind is able to go into neutral, like in a car. Like when you put your car in neutral, the gears disengage and the car is able to just roll. There's no resistance. There's no brakes. The gears aren't holding it. It goes into neutral. All the gears disengage and it's able to just roll. And the mind, because we're so overinvested and busy in the mind, we get all bent out of shape, right? But when you learn how to extricate yourself from the mind, you give your mind the space that it needs to heal. Like being in the mind 24/7 is like fucking pumping iron 24/7. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a way of being able to rest, your mind is not able to heal itself, and it will heal itself naturally. Like the mind gets such a fucking bad rap, like all the ego and the mind. No. We're just giving it all the power, all the attention, feeding all this negative shit into it. And it's just going, okay, yeah, all right, we're not good enough. I hate them, this, that. Like it's just going crazy. And when you learn how to meditate, when you learn how to become one-pointed, the mind is able to naturally unravel all the shit you've created. So that's the benefit of meditation. Like it does feel good, and it gives you the space, or it gives your mind the space it needs to begin to relax, you know?
Yeah, I never thought about it that way with the whole working out analogy.
Yeah,
that's true. And your mind just needs time to freaking like a break, basically. You know what I mean? Because like even when you're sleeping, you know, like I guess your mind gets a break finally when you're sleeping, but then when you're conscious, and then, you know, that's something else that would be is an interesting topic too, because I've been listening a lot to Dolores Cannon. I don't know if you listen to her.
I've heard of her. I haven't listened to her much, but I've heard of her.
Because she's talking about, I feel like, because the 3D reality that we live in is so dense, right? It's just like it's like in your face, right? Gravity, and like it's the hardest planet, the hardest, or at least one of the hardest to incarnate on, right? But like, people talk about, like nothing that is worth doing is going to be easy, right? Like no one's going to pay you more money to do less work, right? With the pain comes the growth, right? Without the pain, there's no growth. Just like working out, no pain, no gain.
Mm-hmm.
So like when people choose to incarnate on Earth, because that's where most of the growth happens. You can choose to incarnate on other planets or other realities, dimensions, where it's much easier and it's better life, right? But the growth is so slow there because it's so easy, right? So that's why people choose to come to Earth. But when you choose to come to Earth, people are like, your ancestors and your spirit guides and stuff are like, are you sure you really want to go there? Because it's going to be difficult. And like Dolores Cannon says, she says the Earth is a school, and you can't go from kindergarten.
I'm literally just gonna say that.
Yeah, you can't go from kindergarten to college. You got to go through all the grades. That's what the lives are, right? And like we talk about the purpose of life, like I said, and it's to learn how to create, but it's to learn lessons, right? That's all it is. And a lot of you guys, the people that watch my channel that aren't really too much into this stuff, you'll notice that God will put a lesson in front of you. And if you don't learn the lesson, like if you're in a bad relationship, you notice how you get into you didn't learn the lesson, you go into another relationship and it's like the same thing. Like she's like the same person,
oh, dude, that's
different body. It's because you didn't learn the lesson you're supposed to learn. So like when you go through a bad time, you're supposed to figure out what was the lesson that I was supposed to learn from that. And people will be like, oh, I didn't learn anything from it. It was just a terrible situation, terrible time in my life.
That is,
you think, then you went through all that pain in vain. You didn't learn anything, and now you're just gonna have to relearn it in another partner. And then if you don't learn it in this life, if like when you have to learn it again in this life, I call that summer school. And then when you die and you don't learn it, well, now you got to repeat the grade. You got to come back and do it all over again.
Dude, right? That is precisely why I don't regret anything, because it happened for a reason, and I'm under complete conviction as well that this life is a school, a training ground where we're being grown, and every single thing that happens, every relationship, every death in the family, every death of a loved one, every job that you start and quit, every place you like, everything is lessons that we're undergoing. It's all for our growth. But like you're saying, we have to have the eyes to see it like that. And like, you're absolutely right about when you don't learn the lesson, it's just going to happen again, because assuming that this is a school, the reason you attract, or even completely like dismissing that for a moment, the reason you attract what you do into your life is because of a deeper code and framework that you have within you, which is what's bringing all these things into your life, where the reason you're attracted to a certain person is because of a deeper code within you that you have yet to realize. And then you have a surprise Pikachu face when they fuck you over and cheat on you and leave you. You're like, oh, why did they do that? Well, because you're attracted to people who do that to you, right? And that's the hard truth to understand, where it's gonna keep happening until you learn the lesson. And like I've had, like in the area of relationships in particular, I've learned a major lesson within the last year or so about why I've been attracting the same kinds of people I have into my life, and just real quick, talking about like if you're in third grade, why you're not gonna move on to fourth grade until you pass the test in third grade. And like, imagine if the teacher was like, you failed the test, but we're gonna move you on just because you deserve, like, you'd move through your whole life not knowing shit. But the teacher, because they're a teacher, says, no, you're not going to move on to fourth grade until you pass the test here in third grade. So they're going to keep serving it up again and again and again until you fucking get it, and that's a blessing. Because imagine we just get moved right on, not being held accountable for the things that we're attracting into our life and the lessons that we're refusing to recognize and learn,
And people get into this, pity state too. Oh, poor me, poor me. Why is this happening to me? And like people don't even realize that that's your thoughts. You're letting your mind take over right now. You're getting out of Zen, out of pure consciousness. And people don't realize that they literally chose this. Like you had your life plan and you're up there with your spirit guides. Okay, this is what's going to happen. You're going to meet this person. This person's going to teach you this, right? You can have this karmic partner, right? So like you chose all of these things that are bad to happen to you. You know what I mean? And you took on, this is my mission. I'm going to do this thing. And so when really bad things happen to people, like, horrendous things, those are brave souls that chose to go through that life experience.
I think what's really hard for people when it comes to that is their lack of ability to account for that decision they made in that higher dimension with their spirit guides. Like, I'm one of the most far out people you'll talk to. So, when I hear that stuff, it's like, yeah, that absolutely could be the case. But we aren't able to account for that happening. So a lot of people have a hard time understanding that they made decisions and chose to come into the lives that they did, and like another thing, people that think that if God existed, suffering wouldn't. That's a huge one. A huge one is, if God exists, why is there so much suffering on the planet? It's a good question, but what you're postulating and saying that is, me as a human would design reality differently. I know better than God. Mm-hmm. If I were God, I'd make everything euphorically fucking blissful 24/7. That's the most obvious human idea we could come up with of, if God exists, why is there suffering? You're basically saying, if I was God, I'd make everything fucking awesome all the time.
Yeah.
It's a pretty elementary idea, and to me, the presence of suffering is not evidence of the lack of existence of God. If anything, the presence of suffering shows and validates to me that God is way further out than we can account for. You see what I'm saying? Like, God is willing to drag our asses through the mud because God knows what we're actually capable of. Mm-hmm. And also, you could tie that in. We choose to go through these horrendous experiences in our life because that higher soul understands the lessons that are to be learned through those experiences,
Yeah, like when people, say, oh, if I was God, I would, make things perfect all the time. People don't understand that's impossible. So like, without, again, duality, without pain, how can you know pleasure, right?
Exactly.
You couldn't. So like, and it even says in the Bible, and I'm not a Christian and neither was Jesus. I think Jesus was trying to teach us all the things that we all are capable of too, not just him. But in the Bible, it says God is love, right? But how would God even know that he was love unless he were to experience what the opposite of love is, which is fear, right? Mm-hmm. That's why God created all of us souls. So like, and this is a theory, but I don't know how it all happened, but essentially, let's say if it was the Big Bang or whatever it was, all of these trillions of souls came out from God, right? So that God can have consciousness to experience itself, to understand what pain and bad things are. Therefore, it can appreciate what it really is. Uh-huh. So I say that all of the souls here, because we are God, right? You are a co-creator with God. And so it's like you take the ocean. So God is like the ocean. And then all of us individual souls are like the waves in the ocean, right? We're all of the same God, all the same thing, but we're all having our individual experience.
Dude,
that's what you are.
I made a video probably like 2 years ago or so, and the title is "Society Doesn't Exist." And the reason it is like a controversial title, but the idea is that, bro, right now you in your mind say, I am live streaming with Devin. In my mind, I say, I am live streaming with Empirical Miracle. Notice how it's both I'm right. And then everybody watching this right now in the chat, I'm watching a live stream. See how it's all I. But the I, you can think of it as the literal I, or the letter I is looking through different vantage points. It's different apertures in different places, but it's the one eye being spun through different minds, different vessels, and like you like when you say society is just a bunch of eyes. It's a bunch of you. It's a bunch of I. So when people say society needs to change, society is an abstraction. It's not real. You are a society. So what and obviously I'm not being delusional. Society is a collective of people, but the idea is that it's not this separate entity from you. You are society. And like what that's speaking to on a deeper level is how it's all the self. We're all only the one self looking through different points. And like you said, God, the divine, the ultimate, did that deliberately so that it could experience the multiplicity of itself. Because how would you get to experience what it's like to be in love with somebody if it was all one 24/7? How would you get to experience what it's like to be heartbroken? How would you get to experience what it's like to go on a walk, or to have a pet, or to get a job, or to travel, or to have a friend, or a falling out? Everything is only able to happen because of duality, because of multiplicity. And like, I think a lot of spiritual individuals can get really caught up in the unity because it's beautiful to recognize it, but it's almost like you come up, you like come up from underwater, you take a breath of fresh air in the unity, and then you realize that the multiplicity is like the celebration of the one divine that you and everything is, right? It's not a mistake,
Yeah. Your mom said something a little bit earlier. She said, victim mentality makes me crazy. And
oh my God.
So I can already tell that that Devin, you and I, we're soulmates, because you have tons of soulmates. Those soulmates aren't always romantic, but we were definitely aligned. We're supposed to meet each other, right? Yeah, got a crush on you, but like a lot of people think that soulmates are romantic, right? But
Yep.
They don't have to be. I mean, you have hundreds of soulmates, you meet them all the time, right?
Right.
But so anyways, we're vibrating on a similar frequency. And I can tell the same thing about your mom when she makes comments like that, because I can't stand victim mentality. Because you were in the beginning of the stream, you're talking about, manifestation and, I'm not worthy of love and stuff. And, victim mentality, that I see it all over, like all of a sudden we're like the most racist country in the world. Like, are we more racist now than we were in the 60s? I mean, it's weird. And like in the 90s, when I was a kid, like I don't remember it being that racist, but all of a sudden we're more racist now. But this victim mentality that people have, it's like fighting for peace is like shouting for silence. It only gives you more of it, what you don't want. Right. That's what I think that the victim mentality does. It perpetuates it. It's like,
that's so true. That's
even Morgan
true.
Freeman said, well, how are you going to get rid of racism? He said, I'm just going to stop talking about it. How about you stop referring to me as a black man, and I'll stop referring to you as a white man? And
man,
then
that's so true. Like to quote Ram Dass again, first of all, he has this example of how he was a beautiful spiritual teacher, like an OG hippie and beautiful person. I highly recommend looking into him. But he talked about he'd go to peace rallies and everybody's like, we need peace, damn it. Yeah. And it's like he'd leave feeling tense and just all like frustrated and stressed, and that ain't it, bro. That ain't it. You're being just the opposite end of the same pole, right? But and then to quote him again, he says, the best thing that I can do for you is to work on me. And the best thing you can do for me is to work on you. Where if you want peace, you got to be peace.
Yep.
Once again, it's the same thing as saying society needs to change. No.
Yeah.
That may very well be true. I wouldn't argue with that. But what are you going to do? You're one sovereign being. What are you going to do? Protest that society needs to change and then not do shit yourself, not be an example of the change you wish to see? It's also cliche and stereotypical to say it, but it's stereotypical because it's true.
Mm-hmm.
We need to operate and live our life from the change we want to see in the world, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mother Teresa was really good at that. She said she would never go to like a anti-war rally. You know what I mean? Like she's like, I don't want to go to anti-war. You're focusing on war. Like she was really in tune with the law of attraction. But she said, like, I think when you said like pro peace rally or something, I think it was more of an anti rally, right? Rather than pro peace, because they're like, no more war, no more war,
Yeah,
right? That's really pro peace rally. But like she said, don't invite me to an anti war rally, invite me to a pro peace rally, right? Where you go and you appreciate the peace. Gratitude is the number one emotion associated with manifestation, with attracting things into your life. When you can just be grateful for the things that you have, you'd be surprised on how fast you start manifesting things into your life.
It's huge, bro. It's
but
huge.
Being in a sense of lack, you know, it's just like you're just going to attract more of it. And I know, like, sometimes people, you know, they know this, but they let their mind take over, right? That's the problem. Whenever you start thinking, okay, I know how the law of attraction works, but I start letting my mind take over, and then I start thinking that I'm my thoughts and stuff, and, you know, this is bad and this is bad. And even when you're meditating, you know, like you can meditate in a freaking at a baseball game, dude. Like could be, oh, I can't do that because, you know, it's too loud, it's bad,
right?
It's bad. Like,
or
no, it just is.
Reminds me of the example of the you know, the parent that's sitting in the room meditating and their child starts crying and asking for something, and the parent says, leave me alone, honey, mommy's trying to get enlightened. Like, your enlightenment, your awakening does not come, your awakening comes through your life, not in spite of it. The baseball game is the most brilliant way to meditate. If you're at a baseball game in that moment, that is where your awakening is. Your awakening is never anywhere other than where you are in that moment. So when you're meditating and your child interrupts you by coming and crying or whatever, that is your meditation. And to sit there and think my meditation is being interrupted by my crying child, that's the delusion. That will only pull you further away from meditation. Whereas to tend to the child is more in line with the path, you know?
Right.
And dude, yeah, about manifestation, like, first of all, it gets such a bad rap. It gets such a, like, I'll be honest, within the last year, I've really leaned in to manifestation and understood it from a completely different standpoint, you know. But prior to that, I kind of looked down on manifestation and the law of attraction because I was such a whacked out, like, Eastern philosophy, non-duality Hindu dude that I was like, why would I want to manifest my desires? What I want to do is get rid of my desires so that I can become one, right? Like, that was the narrative I had. And I was like, I don't want to get caught up trying to fulfill my desires. I want to stop wanting so much and therefore get the same result of fulfillment, you know. But there's a beautiful quote. It says, God, your desires are God's desires. What you want is like a thread of excitement. It's the path. You're being called, you know, and to follow that is your highest good. To follow that is your path, and to get rid of all the shit that says you can't do it and you're not good enough and you don't have what it takes, and like all the doubt and everything. Like, we need to listen more to our passion and our desire than we do to the voice of doubt, you know, because the lack of faith and the voice of doubt and thinking it's not possible, it may seem bad, but all it's trying to do is keep you safe by keeping you in the known. You know what I mean? It's trying to keep you in the familiar, because in the familiar, everything's predictable. You know, you go to the same job, do the same thing, come home to the same person, eat the same food, you go to and from work the same way, watch the same TV shows, do the same things on the weekend, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's safe, but it's oftentimes not fulfilling. But we sacrifice and let go of wanting to become fulfilled in exchange for feeling safe, you know. And the law of attraction is risky business, because what you want requires you to step outside of what you currently are, the framework of how you view yourself now, where, you know, whatever the hell it is you want, obviously what you want, it means it's not here now. It's not who you, it's not resonant with who you are now. And you're sort of looking up and out at it. And in order to make what you want a reality, you need to become the person who can have it, which is where a lot of us get weird, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people need to just stop stressing about it anyways, because again, when you're born with spiritual amnesia, right? So a lot of people just think that this is it, right? Like, this is all we have, right? You know, when you die, you're done. You know, people like may go to church on Sundays and stuff, but they don't really believe that. Like, you know, they do, but they kind of don't, because they take life so seriously, and it's not that serious. This is just a simulation. This is just a game. It's a play. It's a movie, right? So like when you die, like when you go to sleep, right? So what you are is your soul we were talking about. But when you're sleeping, your soul doesn't need rest. Your body and your mind do, right? And so like I said, you finally put your mind a little bit, you know, to rest, because you can't do it during the day. But your soul, imagine how bored your soul would get if it was just stuck in your body for 8 hours. Like, come on, wake up, right? Like, no, when you're dreaming, like dreams are more real than this reality. You know, you're going to different dimensions. You're going talking to your spirit guides, doing all this stuff. But don't take life so seriously, because it's just a simulation, right? Like when you die, you're going to be like, oh my God. It's like when you wake up from a bad dream, you know, and you're like, oh my God, that was so scary. That was so real. Oh, thank God it was just a dream. That's what I think it's going to be like when I die. I'm going to be like, oh my God, I took that so seriously. It was just a play. It was just a movie. You know?
Where do you think you'll be? Will you be like, who will it be that's going, oh my God, like, where will you be? What do you think?
When you die?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anywhere to be or to go. I think that you just are going to be. You just are, like you said, you just is.
And right? And all of the tensions and illusions that we created in this life will naturally like resolve, which will result in that, oh my God, like, yeah, no,
you're going to be who you really are when you die. Like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm consciousness. You know, I'm not Christopher, right? I'm not Empirical Miracle, right? I'm not Denver Metro Audits. That's just my ego. Those are just things, you know. That's not who you really are. You really are just pure consciousness. And you're like, oh, okay, now I remember who I am. Okay, you know, that's nothing.
How did you get into this stuff, man?
I got into my spirituality. I started my awakening from meeting my twin flame, which is one of the topics I wanted to talk about. So I met her, and I didn't even know what a twin flame was. And the twin flame journey really is just the true spiritual journey. That's all it is. It's a forced spiritual awakening. So we started having problems, like, you know, if you know how much you know about twin flame journeys, but they start running because there's a divine masculine and divine feminine. And if you're aware of a twin flame, you're the divine feminine, but it's not gender specific. So most divine feminines are females. So like even Plato observed twin flames, and he called it split apart theory. But they noticed that usually the runner was the man. So they just called that divine masculine, but it's not gender specific.
Yep.
So when I met her and then she started running, of course, that sparked my spiritual awakening. And then you realize what the twin flame journey is. And I started just all of a sudden I started seeing like 1111 everywhere, and like stuff started showing up on my YouTube feed that I never even watched. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? These spiritual stuff. And I started realizing what a twin flame was. I was like, holy crap, I met my twin flame. And like, you know, God and my spirit guides and everyone was just guiding me to learn this stuff. And that's how I started it. And it was about 6 years, like 2018, 2019 is when I started my spiritual awakening.
That's beautiful that it's led in the direction of you learning about your true self and the soul and that which is behind the mind and meditation and all of those things apart from the twin flame journey. That's beautiful the way it's like segued into all these different things. But no, the reason I ask is because you're speaking deep shit that not the average spiritual seeker or a person who is fascinated with it on a surface level understands. You know, you're speaking about somebody that like is actually like understands the truth behind the things that are being said, you know?
Thank you, man. Cause that means a lot to me, because I can tell you're really advanced. You know what I mean? Like, you know more than me. So I'm honored to even be talking to you about stuff like this.
Well, thank you, bro.
Yeah. But like, yeah, so the twin flame journey, like a lot of times people like twin flames get romanticized and, you know, oh, I got to meet my twin flame, right? Like if you're trying to meet your twin flame, you probably don't have one, right? And this is like, I would never wish a twin flame journey on anyone. It's like one of the most traumatizing things you'll ever go through, right? Like I've been through breakups and stuff, and you know, twin flame is on a whole nother level, man, because it's you. So what a twin flame is it's two incarnations of the same soul in the same timeline, right? So if you have past lives, you know, I was born in 1800 and then I died in 1850, and then I was born here, and now I was born in 1982 and I died, and then now I'm, you know, 2080, I'm born, right? It's linear, they think of it. But if you can have past lives, then why couldn't you just have two incarnations of the same soul in the same timeline? That's what a twin flame is. It's you. It's pure consciousness. It's another incarnation of your soul. And so when you meet them, it's your energy. And it's like it's just like, wow, I've never experienced anything like it before. But then usually about 8 to 12 weeks, they start running. Mine was about 12 weeks. And out of nowhere, for whatever reason, they run. And so that's what
meaning they pull away.
Yeah. And it causes this panic. And it's like, it's this obsession, right? And like I said, I've had breakups, but nothing like this before. I'm like, I've only known this girl for, you know, a few months. Like why am I feeling like this? And it's like this obsession, right? You like check their Facebook like 80 times a day. And it's like, you just never get out of it. And what happens is if you don't start meditating and do soul stuff, because they're your soul. So if you want to get out of this, you have to do soul stuff.
I love
that. You'll be stuck in that cycle for the rest of your life of just being obsessed with them, right? Because it's your energy, right? It's you. So you're just so attracted to it. It's your favorite drug, right? So I actually took this coaching from New World All-Star. His name's Kurt Johnson. He's like the #1 twin flame coach. And it was amazing. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I would recommend it for anyone, even if you're a twin flame or not, because he basically just talks about being Zen, traditional Zen spiritualism, and just meditating and being present. And that's what you have to do if you want your twin flame to come back, is shift the focus of your attention to the present, right? Soul stuff, right? And then the more you obsess with them, it pushes them away, because like a twin flame, so you have like a battery has a positive and negative polarity, right? Or like a magnetic field. So as the divine feminine, you are you're the positive polarity to the soul, and the divine masculine is the negative polarity to the soul. But if you look at like a battery or like magnetic field or whatever, positive energy goes from positive to negative, right? It doesn't go from negative to positive. It goes like positive, like a AA battery, positive and negative. The energy goes one way, all the way down, right? Your energy is always going to the negative. So if you're the positive polarity of the soul, your energy is always going to them. So the more you think about them and obsess over them, it pushes them away. And that's what causes them to start running. And when you pull your energy back and you just start becoming Zen and aligning with your soul, being present, then it gives them the capability of coming back to you. But it's gotten to the point now where it's like, because I remember him saying like, at least if you could just stop obsessing, wouldn't that just be worth it? I was like, yeah, that's true. But like, gets to the point where like a lot of people don't end up aligning with their twin flame, because in order to maintain a relationship with your twin flame, you have to like, it's hard. You can't really show them empathy, right? You can't be like, oh, she's so cute, because now you're giving energy to her and it pushes her away, or her to him, whatever your situation is.
That's far out.
That's why most people try, once you've go through the twin flame journey or the true spiritual journey, people choose to align with soulmates because a soulmate is another soul. It's not you. It's not your soul. So therefore, you can be that way. I can be, oh, I love you. Oh, I can be like that. But if you do that with your twin flame, then they just start running. So like twin
Dude,
flames are stupid.
That's really, really fascinating, and I've never heard the twin flame journey be broken down in that way. To be completely honest with you, I first learned about the twin flame when I was absolutely devastatingly heartbroken from a girl that was like toxic and like just not a good situation, not talking to me, discarded me, so on and so forth. I learned about twin flame and I was like, oh my God, she's actually my twin flame. It's only a matter of time before she comes back. We're meant to be together. And that was my introduction to learning about the twin flame. Was I used it as a coping mechanism to make sense of a toxic relationship. Mm-hmm. And I'm not in a position to talk about the depth and the like what is actually entailed in a twin flame journey. But what I can say in that area is what concerns me is people that use the twin flame phrasing as a way to make sense of the toxic connection they're in. Where like, you know, I know a bunch of people who, or not a bunch of people, but like a few people who they're in a shitty relationship and they're trauma bonded to each other and they're attached, but it's their twin flame. But the reason they discovered that it's their twin flame is because the relationship is so tumultuous and so toxic, and they keep running away and coming back, and because they're addicted to each other and they're trauma bonding where they break apart and then they come back and there's this high and then it falls apart, that whole situation. And then they learn about the twin flame and they say, oh my God, that must be what we are. And they get the two all mixed up into shit where you're able to sustain the toxic relationship by guising it in the name of being a twin flame journey, which makes it seem to them like something that's beautiful, healthy. So that's my only concern is people, you know, it's called spiritual bypassing, people that use spiritual ideology to make sense of something that is actually more so based in our own trauma and our own habitual patterns of behavior and why we attract the same people we do into our life and that stuff. But what you did say about the chase, and when you chase, they pull away, and then when you decide to reinvest your energy into yourself, that naturally attracts them. Bro, that's something I talk about so much on the channel. It's something that's completely transformed my life. Of like, it's funny because I want to make a video talking about this, but you know, the moth and the flame. The moth flies at the flame madly, flying around looking for the light. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I want it. I need it. And then it's looking for the light, and it doesn't realize that the light that it's going towards is a flame and kills itself because what it's like, it's so frothing at the mouth going towards what it wants that it doesn't realize that it's actually something dangerous just holding up this light, right? Mm-hmm. We want to reverse the poles. You talk about magnetism, dude, that's facts. We want to reverse the poles where we become the flame. We become the light that attracts what we want to us. We want to completely shift the poles from chasing to attracting. And the way to do that is to stop obsessing, to let them go. That's the biggest mind fuck for so many people is when somebody, like a lot of us get over obsessed and we over invest and we double down on the love, and it starts to make them pull away. They don't want to be there anymore. You're coming on a little too hard. You're, you know, talking about like anxious and avoidant attachment styles, which is really deep stuff, you know. We start chasing. Please don't go. I need you, right? And they pull away. So when they pull away, we have this knee-jerk reaction to think, well, they've pulled away. What I need to do is chase harder. I need to go get them. I need to really remind them of who they're pulling away from. Like we're
Yeah.
so, you know, we need this. Like this is a beautiful, remember all those times, you know, and we try to convince them and we chase them and we try to coerce them into choosing us, but that just pushes them away further. You get in this game of chase where you just forever push them away. But yeah, the biggest mind fuck is realizing that when they pull away, if you want them to come back, you have to let them go. You have to let them go away and reinvest your energy back into yourself, to pull the energy back into yourself. Because, like, if you think of the chase, when you are chasing somebody, they're moving away from you. But when you stop chasing them, they don't have to run from anything anymore. You just hold where you're at. It's chasing. You stop, and they're like, oh, I don't have to run.
Yeah.
And so you freeze the chase in time. They don't have to run from you anymore. So, the moment you stop running at them, there's no reason for them to run away. So they stop right there. And it's in that environment where both of you are, it's like fertile environment, fertile soil for both of you to reclaim your power. The one that was being the person you were chasing doesn't have to run away anymore. They feel safe, grounded. You aren't chasing them anymore. It's okay that they're going away. You don't need them to come back when you really let go. And in that, it allows the dynamic of chasing to resolve itself, you know, and that allows clarity to be reborn, where out of that, there is the possibility of reconnection and reattraction. And you're reattracting as two grounded individuals. You're not reinvesting yourself with each other out of desperation and like sort of a relapse back to what used to be. You're coming back together from an entirely new standpoint, you know?
Yeah. That sounds really more even just like social dynamics than anything, but that's just human behavior, and especially from men to women. So like a lot of times, you know, because girls always initiate the breakups, at least like 90% of the time. I mean, I don't know.
Really?
I mean, think about it. How any girlfriend that you've had, have you ever broken up with a girl ever?
Honestly, I mean, not on paper, but there was somebody who, like, you know the term situationship?
Yeah.
She wanted to fuck around with me, but not be in a connection. And so I had to push her out of my life. That's what woke me up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like recently. So it wasn't like I broke up with her. I wanted a connection. Yeah. She wanted to just like be together, but not be together.
Yeah.
And I realized that I couldn't do that. So I guess kinda I broke up with her, but there wasn't.
Typically the girl, like women initiate like 80% or something like that. 70% of divorces. Yeah. I've never broken up with a girl ever. I always have gotten broken up with. Yep. But the thing is, like, if people are having problems and the guy is like, oh man, you know, I love her. How do I get her back? I got to profess my love to her, right?
Yep. And grand gestures.
Women don't like that, dude. Like women want alpha men, right? They want leaders, right? Because it's hardwired into our brains from tribal times when it was just 50 to 100 people, right? And people know, my audience is already going to know where I'm going because I've said this so many times, but your audience hasn't heard me say this. 99% of the human existence has been in 50 to 100 people tribes, right? We've only had this population explosion within the last few hundred years. So our minds haven't had time, our brains haven't had time to evolve, right? To live with 8 billion people. So in tribal times, the people, the women were aligning themselves with the tribal leader or the tribal leader's friends, because that ensures their survival in the species, right? They're not going to go for, you know, the loser guy. They need someone strong to protect them, right? So that's what women are looking for today too. It's the same thing. They want a leader of men, right? A leader, a protector of their loved ones, all these traits. Attraction is not a choice. So when they see a man that's like begging and, oh, please take me back, I love you and all that, like it really just repulses them. They don't want to be with you anymore, right? So you got to keep that in mind too.
Very true.
There's a lot of like misinformation, you know, on the internet about twin flames and stuff. And really, like a lot of these people that talk about twin flames, they're just talking about soulmates. And there's some people like the twin flame couple and all that. And like, they're just soulmates. Like they think that
And
they're twin flames.
like you
No.
said, people use it as a romanticization
Yeah.
where it makes you feel closer, you know? So that's part of it too.
Yeah. And like you said, it gives people also a lot of ways to justify being into a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my twin flame, you know, because twin flame relationships often are kind of toxic though, too. You know what I mean?
Tumultuous,
They
right?
are naturally like that. But people just think, oh, it's got to be my twin flame. So I gotta, you know, I'm meant to be with them. And in reality, if you really are a twin flame, which is very rare, guys, it's very rare to be an actual twin flame. Um, that the true purpose isn't to be with your twin flame. You can be with your twin flame. It's possible. It does happen. But like I said, it's not going to be the way you want it to be. It's going to be, like I said, you can't really just show too much emotion towards them where it pushes them away because it's your energy, it's your soul. So if you look at the positive going to the negative, positive polarity going to the negative polarity, that's like you chasing and them running, right? So a lot of people, the true reason you meet your twin flame, if you have one, it's just it's a forced spiritual awakening. It's what it is. So this is the twin flame. This is what it is. Okay. So you have two different things. So this is this right here. Okay. We have a soul, and then you have a body and a mind. Okay. 3-part triune being, remember? So soul, body, mind. That's what you are, right? So right here, you have soulmates, right? You have a soul, body, mind, and a soul, body, mind. That's a soulmate. Then down here is a twin flame. So you have a soul, and then a body, a mind, and a body and a mind. Okay. That's the difference, guys. You put it for people who are visual, right? So, but you know, like I said, I know now that like I have no interest anymore. It's like in being with my twin flame, I'm kind of like glad that that's over.
Wait,
Because
so yeah, what is the situation right now? Do you guys like, are you guys together? Do you live together?
No, we're in separation, and we've been in separation for a long time. And like the thing is too, if you're a divine feminine, right, male or female, if you know about a twin flame and you're the one that's doing the chasing, then you're the divine feminine. Okay. So the divine feminine is the knowing. You're the positive polarity to the soul. You're the knowing. The masculine is the understanding, right? They're a different polarity, right? So if you try to tell, we're twin flames, babe, we're twin flames, like all you're gonna do is just push them away. You don't want to explain to your twin flame that you're twin flame.
You're my twin flame.
Now you're chasing again, right? And it's just gonna push them away more. That's what I'm saying. This is what's this turmoil, right? And that's what, again, the pain is where the growth happens, right? So then that's kind of how it led me to this whole spiritual stuff. You know?
Yeah, man. And like what's really far out is, you know, your twin flame dips out and you're not together. And then you realize, okay, you realize what you're saying of, okay, I need to reclaim my energy, and that is what will reattract them. So then you get stuck on this mindset of, I'm reclaiming my energy to attract you. I'm not looking for you. Are you there yet? I'm not looking for you. Are you there yet? Or I'm being myself. I'm not chasing you. Are you coming over yet? That's what we end up doing. And when you talk on an energetic, like, yeah, you might not be texting her. You might not be going over to her house with a boombox, you know, and you're not doing that stuff. That's good, but that's only the physical. You're talking about energy. That energy is, are you posturing what? Like the reason you're reclaiming your energy is the motive in reclaiming your energy to get them back. If that's why you're reclaiming your energy, you're not actually reclaiming your energy. Mm-hmm. You're repositioning yourself to do what you think will pull them back, but that's not going to get you the whole way home.
You can't fool the universe.
Dude, exactly. You can't do something with this hand and then not let this hand know.
Right.
It's all clear. So it's really important to become aware of those subtleties of, I'm letting go because I want you. That ain't letting go, bro. Letting go is realizing, listen, man, it fucking sucks that we're not together. It sucks that we're not talking. I wish we could be back together, but I'm not going to force you. I can't. And I'm also not going to sit here waiting. I'm not going to sit here begging, and I'm not going to put my life on pause for somebody that's decided they don't want to be with me. So what looks like giving up and not wanting it anymore is actually just choosing you and continuing to move on with your life, where you can want the relationship and still let go of it, you know, and yeah, it's really far out and really subtle stuff. The way there's those sneaky little intentions in the letting go that we're doing, you know?
Yeah. You can't fool the universe. So like I said, it's the true spiritual journey is really what the twin flame journey is. So if you're doing this, like, okay, I need to be present. I need to meditate. I need to do soul stuff so I can get my twin flame back.
Yeah. Right. There
you go. If you think, then you can't fool the universe. It's not going to work like that. You have to make it about the true spiritual journey and really work on yourself and becoming that your soul, what you really are. I am, right? Yep. I am, therefore I am. And once you do that, then eventually maybe they'll come back, maybe they won't, you know, maybe it's 10 years, maybe whatever. But by the time that if they do come back, okay, by the time they come back, you will no longer care. You will not have a preference anymore. Right now, when you're going through the first stages of the twin flame journey, you're obsessed with them. You want them to come back, right? You might even be starting to do the work because you want them back. But once you do the work, you will not have a preference either way if they're here or if they're not there. And then at that point, then you can make the decision. Do I want to do the twin flame? Do I want to be with my twin flame?
Right.
Or do I want to maybe choose a soulmate? You know what I mean?
That's the true turning point where you do realize that you've let go, is you realize it's okay that we're not together. Like, that's where you realize that you have reclaimed your energy. That's different than I'm letting go because I really want you to come back, you know? Mm-hmm. Way different energy. And also that energy is broadcasted to the universe, you know, where like if you're not talking to somebody because you want them to reach out to you and you want them to come back, that they can feel it. It might not be conscious, and it most likely isn't conscious, but it is subconscious. It's a pressure. It's the chase dynamic. You're still chasing them. You're still saying, are you going to come back? I still want you. Where are you? Mm-hmm. And, you know, in past relationships that I've had, and also, dude, I can relate to every single thing you're saying in my own experience, just outside of the context of the twin flame journey, because it all resonates with me as well, of the chase. Yep. That's what really clicked with me in what you're sharing.
And it does kind of fit more for just twin flames too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It works for lots of, even soulmates too. A lot of this stuff works too.
Yeah. Like, I forget exactly what I was going to say, but the idea of the chase where, like, you know, I'm realizing, okay, like, if I want to get them back, I have to let go of them. All right. Okay. Cause I understand that stuff. Cause I'm a cool cat in spiritual lingo. I got to let go to get them back. Okay. So I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna let go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go. Where are you? That's not letting go. And I'm at a point now, you know, I actually did recently just have a breakup, you know, a little over 2 months ago. And I have to completely come to peace with any desire I have to be together, even if I understand on a rational level that we're not a good match and we're not good for each other in where we are in our life. There's still the desire of wanting to be back together. Now, I need to accept that. The fact that there's a desire to be back together. Even if I rationally understand I don't want to be together because it'll only make us hurt more, there's the desire. And to think, oh my God, because I have the desire, it'll never work out in the future. And she feels that energetically and she's pulling away because of it. I need to stop giving a fuck about that. Mm-hmm. That's letting go. Is that whole mental play of she feels what I'm feeling and because of that, it's pushing her. I need to come to peace with that energy and realize, listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't fucking have a desire of us being back together. I loved the girl. And obviously we had an amazing time and it'd be cool to be back together. But then there's the part of me that understands, but that's probably not the best option. And I don't know if I actually want that, but I have to consume all those paradoxes into myself of realizing, listen, this is how I feel. Like, it sucks that we're broken up. And even though it is probably the best option, there's still the desire. And I just need to accept that shit. That's letting go. That is the letting go, is realizing, you see what I'm saying? It's almost like
it's a paradox. It's a paradox.
It is a paradox, dude. Accepting the fact that you want them and are having a hard time letting go is the letting go.
Yep.
That's the far out part. And that's the energetic stuff that does shift the poles. That's where the real shifts happen, is when you're not trying to fucking fool yourself, like you were saying, of I'm letting go, where are you? You know? Yeah.
Like I said, when you truly have let go, and I guess this does go for any type of relationship, when you truly do let go, if they come back, you will no longer have a preference if you want to be with them or not. And the best way to let go, too, that people need to understand, is you need to detox from this person. So you need to stop going and looking through your pictures and reminisce, like anything that you have that reminds you of this person, fucking get rid of it, dude. Throw it away. And if you don't want to throw it away, put it in a box and give it to someone here, mom or a friend, whatever. Can you just hold on to this until I say, like, get that stuff out of your house? Otherwise, you're just it makes it harder and harder the more that you think about them and reminisce about stuff, right?
Dude,
that makes it harder, perpetuates it.
Learning how to deal with a breakup is something that I'm like, learning how to work with and deal and move through a breakup is something that I'm very passionate about, as somebody who literally went through one 2.5 months ago. You know, you're so right about stop looking at the reminders. And detox, which means don't be friends. Don't fucking be friends, please. Like, that's such a far out thing people do, is like you said, when the person breaks up with you, they often offer being friends. Let's be friends. We can still be friends. You know, the reason they want to be friends with you is because they like you as a person. They don't want you as a partner. They don't want to lose access to you. So they're like, let's be friends. And also, it softens the blow on them for the fact that they just broke up with you.
Yep.
So that's why they do that, is to keep you in your life, keep you in their life, because they like you as a person, but they don't want the responsibility of the relationship. That's why they do that. And also, they'll sometimes do it to keep you as an option. They're saying, I want you to stick around over here, be a good dog. I'm gonna go over here and look at my options and see if I can find better. If I can't, I'll probably circle back to you. I literally had a girl tell me that. If you
she straight up told you?
She said, I don't want to be together right now, but if you stick around, I'll most likely circle back to you. Word for word, bro. Not even lying.
I hope you told her to kick rocks, dude.
That's what I had to do, or else I was going to fucking lose my mind.
Well, even if she did come back to you, she would never respect you, because any high value man would not put up with that type of stuff.
No, dude, not at all.
Women do that a lot, though, dude. Now, you know, not to bash women, but I mean, women, again, it's hardwired into their brains to align themselves with the best possible person, because that's going to ensure her survival and her children's survival, right? In tribal times, it was who can protect me against all the dangerous things. In today's society, maybe it's not that so much, because we live in a more peaceful society, but it might be somebody with money. Like women people say, oh, they're gold diggers. Well, I mean, it's kind of hardwired into their brain, because money equals survival value. It's no longer who can pick up the biggest rock. If you have $1 million in the bank, I mean, you have survival value, right? You can ensure the survival of her and her offspring. So women are naturally always looking for the best possible thing that they can get, right? And so they do that sometimes. They think they can do better, and then they'll leave, and then they realize they can't, and they'll circle back around. And then if you do take her back, she's not ever going to really respect you anymore after that, because she's going to realize that you are a lower value man, because you just put up with some crap that she just put you through, right? So you always have to make sure that you hold yourself in high regard, and don't let anyone do that to you.
That's a hard truth, is that you let somebody toss you out, go look for more, and then when they couldn't find what they thought they could come pick you right back up. You know, we really have to come to fucking terms with these kinds of things in ourselves, and we really have to realize, like Like I'd rather be alone and lonely than desperate and in a relationship with somebody who doesn't respect me. You know, like we have to make major fucking sacrifices, you know, and to complete the thread of what I was saying about the whole friends thing, our inclination to usually want to be friends with them, like they're like, but we can still be friends, and I'm gonna break up with you, but let's still be friends. We usually go, okay, yeah, that's cool. Let's be friends. Let's be friends. Because in our mind, that's the next best thing. That's the next best thing is, and maybe if I stick around as a friend, they'll realize how loyal I really am, and they'll choose me again. Like, and dude, we just do all this shit that completely smears, first of all, and most importantly, our self-respect into the pavement, but also their respect of us, like you said. They'll stop respecting you, just like you said. And if they can drop you down, like let go of you and throw you away, and then come pick you back up when they're ready, even if they want you on, like you said, on a deep subconscious level, there's a lack of respect there, because it's like, damn, he really just took me back that easy.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
If you want to attract women, if you're a man watching this, work on yourself, right? That's what you need to do is work on yourself.
Wait, did you say as a man?
As a man, work on yourself.
Same thing with women.
And women will come.
Same thing with women, dude. That's the thing, is like, maybe that's one of my controversial stances, is that like the masculine and the feminine, it's a fractal. I'm in a masculine body, yeah, and there's two masculine and feminine. In the physical, it's represented as two different genders, but within my body alone, it's like yin and yang, where yin and yang is masculine and feminine, but within each of them is the seed of the other. And like the outside world aside, dismissing everything else, me as a man, the man part is just my body, right? But within me is an equal swirling of masculine and feminine energy that, if I'm doing the work, as it's said in spiritual lingo, becomes balanced, where I am maybe in a way dominantly expressive in the masculine, but also I'm equally balanced with my inner feminine, you know? And then if you think about it, how the fuck is a man going to understand a woman if he himself doesn't have within him the prerequisite of feminine energy? And a lot of us are really bent out of shape in that area, where a man, God forbid he feels his feelings, God forbid he cries, he better show up stiff and true and strong, and I'm the man. And God forbid he's vulnerable, God forbid he's soft and romantic and loving and gentle, because that's not a man. And then a woman, God forbid a woman is assertive and independent and knows her shit and knows what she wants, right? Those are like the stereotypes of masculine and feminine exist within both of us. And I don't want a woman who's only the feminine. I want a woman who is feminine in dominance, right? But also possesses the seeds of the grounded masculine within her, you know? And assuming she's grounded in herself, she's not going to want me if I'm being just the man. She's going to want somebody who's grounded in both, you know?
Yeah. Well, a lot of stuff that you're saying about this is goes with twin flames, and it goes with any relationship. But like 1111 is the master twin flame number, right? Like a lot of times people go through their twin flame journey, they start seeing 1111, you know, is the main number they see. So you have 1111, right? So you have the divine masculine and then divine feminine, right? Again, like I was talking about, two incarnations of the same soul, right? So divine masculine and divine feminine, 1111. But you also have, so the divine masculine has masculine energy and feminine energy, right? And the divine feminine has masculine energy and feminine energy. Right? Both together, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the prerequisites to coming together with your twin flame, or maybe with anyone, is to learn how to balance the masculine energy within each of yourselves. And once you do that, then you can come together. 1111, right? 1111.
That's absolutely true, and that ties directly in to what we were talking about earlier of the moth and the flame, of how rather than running like chaotically towards what you want, become the light that attracts what you want. That's the same thing with twin flame and finding the one, right? Like maybe outside of, like for me, outside of the context of the twin flame journey in particular, people are like, how can I find the one? Where's the one for me? We're asking the wrong question. You know, you fucking pull up at the red light and you look over, you're like, is that my soulmate? Is that the one right there? The person crossing the road, you're like, is that them? At the cashier, you're like, are you my soulmate? Everybody, and I'm just using the word soulmate loosely, but
right.
we're looking wildly for the one, but we're not being the one. In order to find the one, and I'll even go out on a limb and say, in order for the one to exist, you need to be the one for them, which means, like you said, balancing the masculine and feminine within you, and also to make that statement more understandable, working on yourself, prioritizing yourself, choosing yourself, following your passions, developing your purpose, living your life, doing what you love, creating a life built and oriented around what you love. That's how you find them. You don't find the one by going out of yourself and looking in every crack and crevice and every social situation. Is that them? Is that them? Is that them? It's okay to desire it. This is the paradox thing about letting go. It's okay to wonder. It's okay to desire the one, but don't put your life on hold waiting for them. Don't make the situation contingent on looking for the one. It's okay to want them, man, but like, live your life alone. Like, I think the depth to which a relationship is fulfilling is proportionate to the depth to which somebody alone is fulfilled.
Yep.
Where, you know, like if two people are desperately seeking each other, they basically just create one complete thing where you're my other half and I need you and we need each other. But if I myself am whole and complete and this girl over here is whole and complete and we come together, now we're two full ass cups that are overflowing into each other, rather than two half full cups that complete one full cup, you know?
Yep. 100%, dude. I've said that what you just said 1,000 times. And so I'm going to explain exactly what you just said in my own way. So maybe in case someone didn't get it, let's just hear a different way of explaining it. But you said like you're trying to find someone. Like, you don't find the one, you attract the one. And how you attract the one, like you said, is working on yourself. So aligning yourself with the vibration of the person that you want, then that person has no choice, like attracts like, but to come into your life. So, and it's not just with relationships, it's with everything, right? Because people will say, oh, well, I'll be happy when I find this girlfriend, right? Or I'll be happy when I get this job or this raise. But that's not where happiness comes from. Happiness is not external to you, it's within. So once you are, remember I said gratitude is the number one emotion associated with attracting abundance. Once you become grateful for what you already have, then you're on that vibration. Now you can attract the better job or the girlfriend or whatever it is that you're looking for. It has to come from within. Once you're happy from within, now you can attract these things. So people are like, well, you know, I'll be happy when, if that's what you think, then you're never going to be happy. You're always going to be in this vibration of lack. So work on yourself, be grateful for what you already have. And then that stuff just comes to you naturally. Like when it comes to like girlfriends, I've never done like dating apps or anything like that, or like trying to go out looking for girlfriends. Like they just come to me, you know what I mean? It just happens organically. And that's the best way. So yeah, just same thing with what you said, you know what I mean?
That's very true, man. Yeah, I'm in the same boat too. I've never looked for the one or even a partner. I've never looked for any of the partners I've had. They've all been right in front of me. They just appeared, you know, and it's so beautiful when, you know, cause like we'll have crushes on and like be attracted to people, but very seldom are they attracted to us, you know, and it's cool when you cross paths with somebody and you vibe with them, and then you find out they vibe with you. It's a very, very beautiful feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, like not everyone's meant to go with you on your journey forever. I mean, even marriages, 100% of marriages end, right? Either you get divorced or one person dies. I mean, no one goes with you on your journey forever, right? So somebody could come into your life and you're vibrating on the same frequency. And then, hey, you know what? Once you learn the lessons that you're supposed to learn from that person, then maybe something will happen to where you guys separate. And it's not good or bad. It just is, right? So if somebody leaves and you're break up with them, you need to again think, well, this is terrible. I'm hurt, but what was it that I was supposed to learn from this? And if you just say, well, I don't know, I didn't learn anything, it's just a bad time. Well, now you just gotta have to redo it over. So you just got to figure out anytime something bad happens, whether it's a relationship or, you know, I got in a car accident, whatever it is, what is the lesson that you learned from it? It could be something small. It could be only you can determine what you learned, what the lesson was. And it could be anything. And once you figure that little thing out that you learned, there you go. You learned the lesson. The blessing always comes after the lesson is learned. While you're learning the lesson, it's terrible, right? But just like the sunshine always comes out after the rain. So the blessing always comes after the lesson.
I think people need to really take note of that, where like when we experience like negative emotions, we want to run the fuck away from that shit. That's often why we're looking for what we want in our life. Is like, for example, looking for the partner is, I need you to give so that I can feel the feelings I want to feel within me. It's kind of a selfish intent in a way, where we're trying to get this feeling inside. And in a roundabout way, we're trying to get rid of negative feelings. But when frustration and anger and jealousy and insecurity and fear and sadness, depression, all of it, when these things arise within us, rather than trying to go, oh my God, I gotta get the fuck out of this, like you said, ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me right now? What's the story that this emotion is trying to inform me of? Because emotions are energy in motion, and they're messengers. Like, the way I often think about the emotional dimension of ourself is, it's a baby that's crying. Not always crying, because the way the emotions change, but when you're experiencing negative emotions, it's like your baby is crying. Now, the baby can't speak English, or it can't speak. All it can do is signal to you through outbursts. Your job as a parent is to figure out and troubleshoot, why is my baby crying right now? Are they hungry? Are they tired? Is there shit in their pants? Do they want a toy? Is it something that they just need to like ride out on their own, right? You need to troubleshoot that as a parent. That's what we got to do with our emotions too. When you're feeling angry, when you're feeling depressed, anxious, insecure, nihilistic and jaded and cynical and victim mentality and stuff, you need to see, okay, these emotions are myself signaling to my mind, because your emotions can't speak to you in words. Your emotions can't say, hey man, I feel like shit because of this. It's just the feeling. And our responsibility as a sovereign being is to acknowledge those feelings and say, what is this trying to tell me? It's like when you have a headache. The headache isn't the cause, it's an effect. It's there because of something. And when you have a headache, usually we're like, oh, where's the fucking Advil at? But like, my mom is gonna hate me when I bring this up, because she always tells me to like take the pain relievers when I have a headache. But what I like to do is sit with the fucking pain of the headache, and I'll take a nap, I'll get some fresh air, I'll drink water, maybe have some coffee. I like to find out, why do I have the headache? Right? Because the headache is signaling a deeper underlying reason as to why the headache is even there. And rather than masking it, I want to find out, why is it there? And that's the very same thing we should do with our negative emotions, is rather than mask it and rather than try to run away from it, figure out why it's there, because it's telling a story. You're not fucking wrong or broken or not good enough because you're depressed and anxious and sad. And no, they're telling a story, and we need to learn how to have the capacity to be with it, to begin to understand the story that it's trying to tell us, you know?
Yeah, I like that when you said your emotions are an indicator,
Yes.
right, of what's going on. So that's goes twofold. So number one, it's an indicator to learn what the lesson is that you're supposed to learn. And number two, it's also an indicator on the frequency that you're currently vibrating on. Right.
Facts,
So
dude.
if you're angry, right, or you're sad, those are negative emotions. That means you're vibrating on a low frequency right now. That's all that's telling you. So you need to shift that, right? It's okay to go to be sad and be angry, but learn whatever lesson you're supposed to learn from that and then shift it. Though you need to get out of that. You can't stay in that too long, right? When you're feeling good and you're happy, right, you're in a good vibration right now. You are attracting abundance into your life by just being in that vibration, right?
Very good point, dude. That's very true. That was something I wasn't even thinking about how your emotions can also be indicators of the state you're resonating in, like victim mentality or doubt or not thinking you're good enough. And that sometimes the lesson or the what those emotions are indicating is that you're feeding yourself such horrible thoughts. Saying you're feeling like shit and you're the crying baby is actually signifying to you, hey man, you got to stop thinking the way you are. That's a very good point too, is your negative states can also be indicators of your negative psychological states where you're having an emotional headache because you're thinking so fucking negatively or you're thinking in such a bad way or a negative way that's resulting in that state. And also it's so beautiful to realize, once again, it's not a mistake that you feel like shit. It's a natural result of the way you're thinking and the way you're living. We underestimate the intelligence of our body and mind so much. We think we're broken when we're depressed or anxious or we're grieving a relationship that ended for a little longer than we think we should, and we think, oh God, something's fucking wrong. You know what I'm saying? Or we're grieving the loss of a pet or a loved one, and we're so quick to think that our emotions and our feelings are wrong, but they're teaching us, they're informing us, like you're saying. And man, we just got to learn how to listen more.
Yeah, that's the key. That's your guide to manifestation, right? Like you were saying, earlier today in the beginning of the stream, is of learning how to manifest things. So if you're feeling bad, that's a signal that you need to shift out of that, right? Because the thought, like your mind, it's all like, it's a good thing. It's not, the mind does what it's supposed to do, but it can lie to you too. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it can get you in trouble too if you're putting too much credence into your mind. Because just remember that your mind is not who you are. It's just something that you possess. That's all that it is, right?
It's kind of like how AI will blow smoke up your ass if you don't tell it not to.
Yeah, when you're out on Chat GPT, you got to say, "Give me the brutal, honest truth right now. I don't want you to sugarcoat things because it will cater to you if you let it."
Don't fucking sugarcoat it. Don't lie. You see what I'm saying? That's what your mind will do. Your mind will lie to you and misinform you and lead you down a direction that you continue to feed into, and you end up in some pretty hardcore territory by doing that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. What are you thinking, man? We're an hour and 43 minutes in. It's feeling pretty good.
I was just thinking, that's funny because I was just thinking the same thing, bro. And great minds think alike, right? So, but would you like to give like final thoughts or anything like that? I would like to, anyone who's in here, I got Q the Audit in here. I got a couple people in here, Wade and John. Can you guys do me a favor? Go over to Devin's channel. And that Devin Gillian is the name of his channel. Moderator, the Spiritual Witch. Can you do me a favor? Can you throw your son's link in the chat? And then mine also, if you can, if I have any I don't even think I have moderators in here. Let me give Q the Audit a wrench real quick.
What is a referral? Oh, that's
so she can throw mine in there in the chat too.
Yeah.
So if you guys would like to subscribe to me, all the people in Devin's chat, I would appreciate it if you think that I had anything half intelligent to say.
Dude, no, this has been an absolutely incredible time.
Appreciate it if you think that I had anything
That's so
Okay.
cool, man. I could come in here and throw my channel. 1 second, I'll do it real quick.
There, I just gave Q the audit a wrench.
There it is. I think it'll show up there. Yeah, it's clickable. Cool. Yep, that was me. I just commented the link to my YouTube channel. So yeah, anybody that's hanging out that wants to come check me out, you can come hang out for a bit. Yeah, I post content every week about a lot of what we just talked about. So yeah, anybody that's here, I'd love to see you there and hang out. And I hope you guys enjoy the content. If you do, come check it out. What's your name, by the way, bro?
Christopher.
Thank you so much for inviting me on, man. It took long enough.
I know. No, it was cool, man. Thanks for coming up, dude.
Absolutely.
So, guys, you can find Devin on YouTube. He's also on Instagram. Do you have any other social medias?
Yeah, I got TikTok. On TikTok, my username is Devin Gilliam. On Instagram, it's Devin Gilliam. And it's Gilliam, like William with a G, not Gillian. That's completely okay. But yeah, on Instagram, it's Devin Gilliam.yt. And then on YouTube, it's just Devin Gilliam.
Yeah. So go ahead and give them a subscribe and then leave them a comment too to let them know that I sent you.
Hell yeah, yeah.
And then thanks Daddy Yellow.
Daddy Ilo.
Yep. Appreciate it. You already subbed to the DMA channel. So I appreciate that. That's my main channel. It's called Denver Metro Audits. I do a lot of activism there. I do a lot of go ahead.
You're fucking killing it. 250,000 subscribers.
Thank you, man.
Are you full time with that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's go, dude.
Yeah. So
that's incredible.
I do a lot of, like cop watching, First Amendment audits, but I also do interviews of public officials or police officers. I speak at city council meetings. I do all kinds of different types of activism. So
homie, that's absolutely incredible. And I am so proud of you.
Thanks, bro. And I wanted, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. For making that a reality. That's something that I'm, you talk about manifesting and dreams and goals. That's what I'm working on right now is completely going all in and full time on YouTube and as a coach and working with people doing what I love, and to be communicating with somebody who's living the dream of what I have right now of being a full-time content creator. It's really cool, man. It's really cool.
Cool, man. Thanks. And I wanted to say too, because this correlates with what we were talking about shifting the focus of your attention to the present, meditating and being present, like in theta, like you're a child, right? And that is actually how I started the DMA channel, is because sometimes when you're just so desperate, you know what I mean? Like life's going so bad, you just have to take a risk and you're just willing to take a risk for anything, right? And I was so depressed with my life, and I was going through the twin flame journey, right? And I was just starting to learn how to separate and to meditate and become part of my soul, be present.
Yep.
And I just had this inclination. I was like, you know what? I hate being an electrician. I'm going to do something else. Like, I'm just going to put it all on the line. Forget it, dude. It's all or nothing. You know what I mean? And I just started the DMA channel. It was right when I started this aligning with my soul thing. It just happened, right? Wow. Because the soul is to knowing, like the mind is to understanding, but the soul is to knowing, right? Like knowing is singularity, right? The mind is duality, right? So that is how I started the DMA channel, and I just knew that, and it kind of just worked out. You know what I mean? So that is, if there's one thing that I teach on this channel, the Empirical Miracle channel, the main thing out of everything I teach is to be present. I honestly feel like meditating and being present, shift the focus of your attention to the present. Just that alone, and your life will start taking off. You'll have no choice, because you will automatically align with your soul, which means you will be automatically on a higher vibration. Read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, okay? My mom has that book, bro.
Yes, that alone, by being present, that alone puts you on a higher vibration by itself. Therefore, you will attract things into your life. So that's my one piece of advice. So
that's absolutely incredible, man. That's so beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank
man.
you.
So thanks everyone for coming in. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, Devin, for coming up, man. And we'll have to do this again, bro, for sure.
Oh, dude, I would love to. It was a great time. I was a little I didn't know what was happening tonight. I didn't know about it being live on my YouTube, and this is literally our first time ever meeting, and it's live on YouTube.
I know.
Which is really cool, man. But you talk about taking risks and leaps of faith and living in the feeling of being the person you want to be. And that's it, is, hey man, doing a live stream and doing a collab with somebody I've never talked to. Let's do it. Let's step outside that comfort zone, man. And I'm all for it. And I had an amazing time, and we will absolutely do it again.
Cool, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. And I knew that I was going to resonate with you anyways, just from watching your videos on YouTube and stuff. I was like, yeah, that's why I didn't have any hesitation.
No, it absolutely is a match, bro.
Cool. Yeah. All right, guys, everyone have a great night. Be safe tonight. It's New Year's. So tomorrow is going to be, what's the year going to be?
No.
It's not New Year's.
You're a month behind, dog.
Dude, I was thinking that it's New Year's. It's the 31st.
Bro,
January 31st.
You're so fucking present that your timeline is starting to stumble into the future, dude.
Wow.
That's funny, man.
All right, guys, we'll just forget that ever happened.
That's hilarious.
Have a great night, though. Be safe, though. It is Saturday night, so
do I hit leave studio to leave?
I'm gonna end it. Stick around. After I get a little outro, it's going to play, and then I'll chop it up with you backstage. All right, guys. Have a great night. Peace.
See you guys.